This is Border Crossings, and today it's the tallest man on earth. That's not me. It's actually Swedish singer-songwriter Kristian Mattsson, who started his career in a band called Montezumas. Kristian did not plan to become a musician. He never thought his career would take off. However, it did. He released his debut CD, Shallow Grave, in 2008, and Pitchfork magazine added it to their list of the 50 best albums of the year. His new CD is called I Love You, It's a Fever Dream. And it's been 4 years in the making. The new CD is his fifth, it's self-produced, and he joins us to talk about it today. Stay tuned for the tallest man on earth, coming up next on Border Crossings. Hi, this is Larry London. Welcome to Border Crossings. We have a guest in our studio that required an extra large parking space because he's the tallest man on earth. That's his name. Actually, that's your moniker, I guess, so to speak, right? I mean, that's not your name. You're not the tallest man on earth, are you?
I am not. No, that's well, I am the tallest man on earth, but I'm not the tallest man on earth. My name is Kristian Mattsson.
And so why did you pick the name the tallest man on earth to go by?
I didn't pick it. It was a friend who picked it for me.
Oh.
I was playing in a rock.
So you were taller than your friend, I assume.
No, I was not. It was a joke. I don't know if you can't see this on the radio, but I'm not that tall. I'm just like slightly taller than Tom York.
Mm-hmm. And I read where this may be it for the tallest man on earth label. Is that an accurate statement, or is that something you're going to keep forever and ever and ever?
Yeah, I don't know where you've heard that, but sure, I'll quit.
No, no, I didn't say quit the business, but as far as the name. So you're from Sweden originally, but
Yep.
Are you now living in the United States?
Most of the time, yes. I live in Brooklyn, New York, but I still have a little farm in Sweden where I go a little back and forth.
So what was it that drew you to music growing up in Sweden?
First I feel lucky growing up there, and first I grew up in a musical home. We had a piano and a bunch of stuff to make noise on, and I found pretty early that I felt pretty peaceful inside when I could make noise on stuff. So I just was messing around. My parents were really understanding from banging on that piano and like all the guitars. And when I started playing electric guitar and I played clarinet, I had to listen to that, and then I whistled a lot. So I did that because it just, looking back at it now, and it's just still like I'm holding this guitar. It's kind of like a pacifier, It's just like this. I have a lot of questions about this world because I don't understand much of it. But sometimes, when I get to play music, the mind, the racing thoughts, they kind of they disappear. So when we go to school, we can take individual instrument lessons as a part of school. So I got a really good education in that, and we were encouraged, at least boys. I'm hoping has gotten a little better now, but just like to get in bands, like playing in bands. So I was in a lot of weird bands, like
Montezumas.
Yeah, it was one. Yeah, that was the one that was the rock band I played most. But before that, there was a bunch of weird, bad punk bands and some glam rock bands. And Montezumas, I just wanted to be Iggy and the Stooges, and just like a lot of shows where I didn't play guitar. I was just climbing around and in the venue and out in the audience, no shirt. It was wild. Yeah.
Crowd surfing?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I did that. So, but during the time when the band started to kind of fall apart because people were moving around, it was harder to get together. Then I started to do songs closer to what I do today. And then one of my friends just put it on MySpace, and he came up with the name, The Tallest Man on Earth. Yeah, so, and here I am.
It works.
Yeah.
It works. You could be very well the tallest man on earth to the radio audience. They wouldn't know the difference.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
He is huge. He's on the Swedish national basketball team. He's huge.
Is there a Swedish national basketball team?
There should be.
No, there is. There is. No,
Now, how does the clarinet and the guitar come out of the same guy? I mean, those are two very different sounds, different styles of music.
Yeah, not... Actually, I played clarinet I picked it up again a couple years ago, and I played the clarinet on my last album, Dark Bird Is Home, because I don't know. That is, I try to make noise on a bunch. It's guitar that I
Most comfortable?
Yeah, most comfortable, and but then. Yeah, now living in New York and having a lot of new friends, and they're amazing at their instruments. Like I just did a session with my friend CJ, who's one of the best horn players in the world and plays with Paul Simon. But before that, I was just on the countryside in Sweden, and on my album There's No Leaving Now from 2011, I think, 2012. There's just one day when I need pedal steel on this song. There's no one playing pedal steel on the countryside where I live. So I drove down to Stockholm, which is 3 hours away, and I found a used pedal steel, and I drove home and I practiced it for a week. And then I got that little lick in there, and with a lot of reverb on it, so you can't hear that. And now that's just sitting in my studio because I wish I was better at a lot of instruments, but there's just not enough time.
Wow. And you get compared quite frequently to Bob Dylan.
So I've heard, not so much anymore, but a lot in the beginning,
Have never seen him play the pedal steel, or
no.
It's interesting that, it must be vocally. So I'm excited to hear the vocals now from the tallest man on earth. So if you wouldn't mind singing a song.
Yeah, cool.
What are you going to sing?
A song called All I Can Keep Is Now. Here is the noise and it's passing through me. Streets so warm and it's call so loud. Oh, here, darling, know all of the voices all the time. Whenever I sleep, it's a goddamn journey. Everything I've seen is now. All the time, walk in the rain, the train is somewhere out there to bed, your lover's time. Oh, your buildings are like shadows and your eyes are deep. Here all I can keep is now. Let's make sure that we wake up early for a whiff of a lonesome house. Oh, here, darling, know all of the hours all the time. Walk in the rain, go rinse your worrying, walk it to bed, your lover's time. Your buildings are like shadows and your eyes are deep. Here all I can keep is now. And all for a quiet surrender. I know we're still out there to know. But from life in the arms of lovers, can I bring someone when I go? I ran into a friend and her eyes said something about a joke that went through somehow. Oh, here, darling, know all of the sorrow all the time. And there is the light, oh, the light is in me. Wasn't this all some crazy dream? Oh, your buildings are like shadows and your eyes are deep. Here all I can keep is now. Your buildings are like shadows and your eyes are deep. Here all I can keep is now.
Great, great, great. Tallest man on earth here in our studios. It's Kristian Mattsson, and his new album is I Love You. It's a fever dream, and I understand that the album ended up being different than you originally had intended it to be.
Yeah, well, a little. I just played a whole song there was like a piece of dirt in my eye. It was bugging me.
Good thing you didn't have to read the music then.
No, that's true. I just I look like I'm closing one of my eyes. Yeah, no, well, I kind of just let it happen. I had some intentions that actually happened. I wanted to record it in my apartment, just pretty bare bones, playing a lot of the guitar takes and vocal takes at the same time, just to keep the little mistakes and just do 3 takes on a lot of the songs instead of 48 vocal takes that I did on the last album. So to do that, and then to just add some overdubs, having fun. And then there's one more musician, CJ, the horn player, CJ Carmieri, that I talked about earlier. I live in Brooklyn, he lives in Manhattan, but he was touring a lot, so he was home for a couple of days, and he didn't have time to come over, so I just emailed over the tracks to him, and he put on horns and just sent it back. So I actually didn't meet him for the whole process, but it was a good month, a little crazy month that I didn't see many friends or family, or just like I barricaded myself. Sometimes when I needed some help with the lyrics, I do this thing where I went out and I had dinner by myself in restaurants, and I just listened to people, what they're talking about, and I just borrow some stuff from what they're saying.
Your first album was about 13 years ago. It was an EP.
Yeah.
In 2006, and then along the way, this is your 5th album, fifth full studio album, and 3 EPs, and yet, according to what I read, and if this is correct, it really wasn't what you set out to do. In fact, you didn't think this was going to turn into a full-time career. You didn't send your photos out. You didn't send much about you out. You just put your music and thought this wasn't going to last.
Yeah, and it was really, I put it out there, and then someone in Stockholm, the capital of Sweden, just like they asked if I could come and do a show, and I only had 3 songs out. I said, yes, it's in 2 weeks. I just started to write more songs because I had to. I missed that time. It was easier than just like when you're just like, I don't know, just write whatever. There's no pressure. So just, and then I kept on playing in small shows in Sweden. I went to Australia pretty early. Someone over there had found me online, but all this time I was working in preschool and then going to university to be a preschool teacher, and it wasn't until end of 2008 when I was touring over here, opening up for Bon Iver, and I was on the tour bus, and I had switched over my university education to be online the last couple of years, so I could tour and do it, but I had to log in and be at these seminars with a webcam, so you could see, and I have to get up at 4 a.m. with the time difference. And I was just still like, I didn't believe that I could make money doing this, because like these scruffy songs, and it was at one point in that tour when I was like, I maybe should just like try to, this might work out for me, and I'm lucky it has. Yeah.
Wow, well, that's great. You've done many festivals, but when people think of music from Sweden around the world, it always comes to mind, ABBA and Ace of Base and some of the bands that were very popular from Sweden as a part of the Swedish music invasion, and more recently is Zara Larsson and some other people like that. But punk music, you talked about punk earlier.
Well, Refused.
That's a big scene. And
Refused, big band from Sweden.
Yes.
And
if you're in the punk scene, yes, but the mainstream pop world doesn't know the underground scene. So it's interesting to hear that there is a thriving punk scene, or was anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that we we have a lot of darkness to deal with, like literal darkness in winter,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is I mean, it's tough. It's tough to just like to when it's just it's dark and you go to school and you sit in school all day and then school's over and it's dark outside. It's the flip side in the summer where everything is amazing and you never want to go to bed. But during the winter months, I feel that we are, a lot of us go into the weird rehearsal spaces and come up with a lot of things just because, we have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was the biggest adjustment for you when you first moved to America from Sweden?
Well, yeah, being a Swede in America, like now, it was 2008 when I came here the first time. It's 11 years ago. We were a little more timid in Sweden, and we don't speak much, and we're really good at like standing in line. and if someone cuts the line, we are just so we don't we like we
no confrontation.
No,
right?
the fist in our pocket. And but I've learned a lot.
Yeah, especially New York. Boy, that's when you talk about being a passive people, and of all places for you to pick New York is anything but passive.
Which I felt I've learned a lot from it, and I enjoy seeing those changes in myself and like being. New York is a fantastic place. Maybe not for driving. Sometimes I come home to I don't drive that much in New York because it terrifies me because you have to be so aggressive. But
yes,
sometimes it has happened a couple of times. I come home to Sweden, and when I drive from the airport, when I have a rental car from the airport, and I get on these small country roads, and there's this car just like that turns on the road just in front of you and drives really slow. Mm-hmm. And I curse at them straight away, like boom. And it's like, what?
So unlike you, right?
Yeah, and that's what you do in New York. Like
right.
Everyone else except you, like they're wrong. And it's like, and I did it, and I also curse in English. That's the interesting thing in the car, and I just feel like this. It feels pretty silly because,
We've got the tallest man on earth with us, and he's currently on tour promoting "I Love You." It's a fever dream, and if we could ask for another song,
yeah. Of course.
That would be great.
This one is titled I'll Be a Sky. I'll be a sky so full of empty now that little falcons dive into lover. So when I'm restless they could lead somehow. What in the world I'm gonna do out here? I feel that I'm a little lost most of the time, but I don't really mind, when my heart feels young. I travel through the storms, but then I hang to dry. And I don't really mind, with my arms in the rain and in the sun. And still be working the only skies I know, working the only skies I'll ever know. Sun is up there like a blazing eye, and I go swimming in the cold river, and I get hungry for the big ideas, how I could carry this whole world, brother. Feel that I'm a little lost most of the time, but I don't really mind, when my heart feels young. I travel through the storms, but then I hang to dry. And I don't really mind, with my arms in the rain and in the sun. I'll still be working the only skies I know, working the only skies I'll ever know. I've traveled a fever road. I travel clouds of my mistakes, and sure I can drift away, but I'll be just around the corner from your love. There is a world within the world somehow, and it will steal me in the long winter. Oh, how I wish that I could call it now, just to remember there's peace somewhere. I feel that I'm a little lost most of the time, but I don't really mind, oh, when my heart feels young. I travel through the storms, but then I hang to dry, and I don't really mind, oh, with my arms in the rain and the sun. I'll still be working the only skies I know, working the only skies I'll ever know.
He's the tallest man on earth, and his new album is I Love You, It's a Fever Dream. Your music's been described as blues or bluesy and folk and a little bit of country in there as well. So what lane, I mean, I don't like to put labels on music, which is what they do typically here in America in the music industry.
Yeah, everywhere.
So what lane do you feel most comfortable in, or all of the above?
Well, I just, I kind of, if I feel most comfortable, I don't know, but I just have to be in the weird lane that the tallest man on earth is. I can't really. It's just, yeah, because there are a lot of, I love a lot of different kinds of music, and like I said, I'm from Sweden. I grew up with ABBA, so like there's actually some ABBA stuff in there.
Wow.
That some people pointed out. There's one song, I'm not gonna tell you which one, but you can hear that I actually stole a little from ABBA, just like in the musical language. Yeah. So I don't know. I just try to write songs that, I don't know.
Is it about your music when you get inspired to write a song? Is it about something you've experienced? Is it about something you're observing that other people are going through? Where do you get your inspiration typically?
I mean, I do. It usually comes from like I have a question about something. Like the songs are not so much explaining things about the world or telling stories about the world as much as like they're just questions. And we feel lost. And it's just I feel very lucky that I have this as a job, and it's also my hobby. It's also my life. I get to do that. I get to grab the guitar and write a song about it, just because then you get that kind of restless energy. Create something, like be constructive about it, something productive instead of, pacing around or, worse things.
You had mentioned earlier that this really wasn't what you thought you'd be doing down the road. What did you think you'd be doing? What was the career you were originally pursuing?
Well, I wasn't pursuing. I am maybe even better now than I used to be, but I actually don't look that far ahead. I tried to live in the now, but when I was younger, I just didn't believe in myself. So just like I need a real job, and I loved being a teacher, and I had a lot of weird jobs. I was a window cleaner, and I worked in a door factory, and just like it was just about I need to make a living and need to have a job, and I guess I just didn't really believe in myself that much, so I couldn't think of like, I'm gonna be a, what was it, blues folk country star.
Did you find songwriting easy? I mean, which is the thing that you like most about the business? The songwriting portion, the performing, the singing? Do you have
Well,
a favorite part of it?
They're also different, but I think the favorite part is definitely the performance part. Because that is what I mean. Thank you so much for having this. It's amazing to be on radio, but I haven't had a lot of like. It's not like my songs have been on top 40, or it's been the live shows that have.
Well, you've done some big festivals.
Yeah, I've done big festivals. I've done like really small shows, and then little bigger shows, and then bigger shows, and I can.
And what do you prefer? Do you like the 50,000 fan crowd, or would you prefer the 300 to 500 bar crowd, or what do you like?
I mean, I'm getting too old for the bar crowd right now, but and sometimes a very small crowd could be the most intimidating thing, where it's like easier.
They're really paying attention.
Yeah, or paying attention, or just like, yeah. I when I'm on stage, wherever it is, and how many people, I get into where I feel like I'm actually in my element. Where some would say maybe it looks like I'm getting into some kind of character, but I feel like that character is more me than anything else, because I always thought, I describe myself as an introvert, and that I don't. I'm not the loudest one in the room at a party, but that is true to one side. But then I also have this very extrovert need that maybe it's a Swede in me that's holding that.
Or a Gemini in you, I don't know.
No,
I'm not a Gemini.
No, I'm a Taurus.
So then that's not it. You're not the twins.
I don't know much about astrology. I'm sorry. I think am I Sagittarius rising and something else I don't know.
Whatever I think it is, April 30th would be. That's what you are.
Yeah, that is a Taurus. Yeah, so.
And it took you 4 years to make this album. This wasn't anything that you created quickly. Although you said in a month you did it.
It took a month. Yeah, it didn't take 4 years.
But you waited 4 years then.
No, I was working. No, so I released it.
Waiting for that month. That's what you're.
No, I released an album, and it's when you start to add things up. I released an album in 2015, and then I toured that album for 2 years. We toured like crazy all through 16, and then we were there 2017. And from touring so much, then I needed a little time off, I felt. But I play music all the time, so in 2017 I did an EP with a group of classical musicians where they put arrangements to my old songs, and they're called Y Music. And we released that EP, and we did 2 shows. And then I started to do my own video series on YouTube where I played demos of songs.
Wow.
And then came 2018, and I started another video series where I recorded songs and also put them on streaming services. And
you have one in a movie too, or more than one in a film.
Yeah, no, there's a couple.
Did you score the whole film, or was it just a couple songs? Or
well, I scored. Me and my ex-wife, we scored a Swedish movie once, the whole thing.
So you've done a lot of things.
Yeah,
a lot of things.
Yeah, so. And then I started to tour on that EP of songs from the video series in end of 2018. So then this was, I just
So
did
it wasn't really a long break.
No,
kind of
no. There was a lot of shows in there, and a lot of messing around with songs and videos and stuff. Yeah.
And so how long does the tour go? Or this is going to be, the tour goes on and on and on, right? For any artist who puts out a new CD, it's
I have a
years
little break now until the fall. I'm mostly doing things like this now. Visit nice people at radio stations and stuff like that, and then I start touring again in Europe in November.
All right, so, and people can go to what website to find you if they want to?
thetallestmanonearth.com.
Tallestmanonearth.com. The tallestmanonearth.com. All right, would you do another song for us?
I would love to. silver dollar in my shoe. Time had never been so kind. The naked spring, the weightless songs, and the memories of being young, and the breath of getting out, and days of wanting to stay with and without. Keep my green eyes open for what I've been kicking around. Now feel the wind right through my country home. Let my notes just fly around, then get some rest upon the lawn. There's so many years of leaves that fall, like a bed of all what's been, and days of wanting to stay with and without. Keep my green eyes open for what I've been kicking around. I leave at night before the dream siren can lay and wait for their unraveling. I need my manners, not my weary soul, and there's so much kindness in the world. In my hand and a silver dollar in my shoe. Time had never been so bold. I caught my losses leave the ground, feel a humming every wheel I turn, and the breath of getting out, and days of wanting to stay with and without. Keep my green eyes open for what I
Very nice. I like it. I like it. The tallest man on earth. Thank you for coming in and joining us.
Thank you so much
nice
for
to
having me.
meet you and have you here in our studios. And please do come back and visit with us again.
I would love to. Thank
when you're
you.
in Washington. Thank you very much. The tallest man on earth is his name, and his new album is out right now. You get a copy at thetallestmanonearth.com, right?
Yes.
That's your website. I Love You. It's a Fever Dream is the name of the new album. I'm Larry London, and this is Border Crossings.